Welcome to another episode of Cyber Talks, where we, CISO experts, discuss everything cyber. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Lior. I'm heading the Strategy and Business Operations Department in CI. I joined the company 2.5 years ago after 11 years in the Israeli Defense Forces, where I mastered operational and strategic planning alongside with cyber defense.
Hi, and I'm Lionel. I'm the head of CTI, the Cyber Threat Intelligence Department at CI. I joined CI 8 months ago after 20 years in the Israeli Security Services, where I fulfilled different intelligence and operational roles. Hey, Lior.
20 years?
20 years.
20 years, wow.
That's a lot.
Hi, Lionel. Good to have you here. You know, I was thinking, we, not that long ago, established your Cyber Threat Intelligence, the CTI department. And I was wondering why.
Good question.
No, I'm joking, but thinking of that, if there is one thing that throughout all these years that we've been working with our clients, the hundreds and maybe even thousands of clients, if there was one thing that we constantly preached for, is that when it comes to cybersecurity, be proactive with whatever you do. Right? This is why do penetration testing to go and find out the vulnerabilities that you have in your environments. And I guess that it's pretty much the same way regarding cyber threat intelligence, right? It's not that you can just rely on some generic information coming from different sources from the outside and try to figure out how this relates to me. You just have to go and look after what's relevant for you. Maybe there are attackers that looking for information, disclosing information about you, and so on, right?
Yeah, actually, that's the idea. That's the basic idea of CTI. We come from the assumption. The basic assumption is that the CISO of any company knows to define his crown jewels.
Crown jewels such as
intellectual property, such as special technologies, such as special assets that they define. Okay, we come after. I want to come to arrive to a company when this first process is done. Okay, and then what we do is that we take those crown jewels and we analyze the world of cyber attacks, the broader or the bigger picture of geopolitical situation and things like that. And then we try to fit between different threats and actors to the potential targets in the company. Okay? Because, you know, there are different attackers, there are different kind of attacks. You can have business espionage attacks, you can have harmful attacks like ransomware or others, you can have influential attacks, you can have different kind of attacks. But you need to analyze every crown jewel, every potential target in your company after you define them in correlation with those different kind of attacks and attackers.
And I guess that knowing who's coming at you is enabling you, I mean, you as a generic CISO of every company, allows you to focus your cybersecurity activities and resilience enhancement, knowing who's coming at you and what tactics is using. You know how to focus your efforts more precisely, right?
This is part of the effort that the CISO needs to do. But analyzing the right environment or the right threat environment, okay, and it's an entire process of threat analysis, let's say, allows you to focus your solutions, okay, or your potential solutions, and resources, and one more important thing is that it allows you to prioritize what you want to do and not to do. Okay, in terms of resources.
So it's just like Hyper, our SaaS platform, right? Where
Exactly.
we prioritize with it the fixing, the mitigation of the findings that we find in the penetration testing. This is how we can use CTI to more focus our activities regarding towards what I am being prepared for.
It's like the CTI is, let's say, one step before the specific vulnerabilities or the specific attacking routes that Hyper shows you.
But is it relevant for any kind of actor? I mean, any kind of company? Because I don't know, let's say, for example, I'm a mid-sized company developing, I don't know, dating application. Okay, do I have nation-level state actors coming after me?
First of all, you can never know. And the basic answer is yes, because even small companies, or even if they don't see themselves relevant to being targeted by state-level actors or state actors, or even superpowers, first of all, they still need to implement the process that we just talked about. Prioritize, focus efforts, etc. They even small companies, they cannot just spread around. Okay, so this is one important issue. And the second issue is that we actually, when we analyze, we see more and more often that states and superpowers attack different companies for different reasons that we don't always understand. Okay, we saw small companies being attacked because they have a very, very unique technology or some kind of or some other asset. Okay, we saw
Or whole industries, for example.
yes.
I mean, if we take the gaming industry, for example, and the well-known examples of North Korea and China attacking specific gaming industry companies, sometimes from specific countries in the world, just to bypass financial sanctions that are imposed on them.
That's theoretically something that we wouldn't think that they would do, right?
Yeah, they don't necessarily realize that being in a gaming industry company, you automatically become a financial industry player in this field,
and hence a potential target.
Yeah,
for states like China and North Korea, because as I said, we didn't think that that China and North Korea would execute these kind of attacks, right? About 3 or 4 years ago when it started. But then they understood that they have the capabilities. They have high cyber capabilities, and they are under sanctions. So they need to find a way to gain more money or to make more money. And they just went to one of the easiest places, companies that generate money, and still install the money. And we know, we are very familiar with specific attack groups in both countries, that this is their main purpose, and guided by the government. So it's not a local effort that somebody wants to do, or a local thing that somebody just thought about it. No, it's something very systematic that we need to take into consideration.
And bearing in mind the current war in the Ukraine, with the sanctions that are imposed on Russia by the West, can we say that we might see in the near future Russian state actors starting to attack gaming industry companies just for the same reasons, to bypass these sanctions?
Interesting, very interesting theory. We need to think that the answer would be yes. Okay, why? Because the war is not going to end soon. Okay, we all understand that Russia has its goals, and they will not stop. From the other side, the West and the world is imposing financial sanctions. So, and they are getting heavier as the war continues. Okay, so at this moment, Russia tries to bypass the sanctions in, let's say, more conventional ways or more formal ways, trading with China, trading with Turkey, trading with countries that don't necessarily agree or impose the sanctions. Okay, but there might be a point in time that it won't be effective or it won't be possible. Okay, and then in terms of capabilities, Russia is a superpower. Their cyber groups can easily turn to other purposes than what they are doing today. And the financial issues are, from my point of view, all the time on the table. It's something that they are probable to focus on in the near future.
But practically speaking, if I'm a CISO of such a gaming industry company, except for being aware of this potential threat that can come to my door, are there any specific things that I can do, I don't know, regarding the way I monitor my systems and environments, up to how I do prevention?
I think
just
the
to
issue
get
is
ready for this?
Yeah, I think the issue is first of all to be aware of the threat, because once you're aware of, you already automatically you are more focused. Okay, first of all, to understand that there is a threat, not only a threat from cyber criminals or script kiddies or things like that. Okay, there is a potential threat from states or superpowers. And the second thing is, once you have understood that, you need to map their capabilities, their resources, their goals, because let's say now the Russian cyber groups are more focused on supporting the military effort. Okay, they are attacking Ukraine for military purposes. But we need to analyze all the time the wider picture, okay, and then understand that once they decide to shift, then we need to know who we are facing, what are their TTPs, what are their capabilities, etc.
And it can come fast.
It can come very fast.
That's fascinating. I mean, if there is one thing I understand from this, is that it doesn't matter what size my company is or what industry it is. If I'm a CISO, I must have these capabilities of cyber threat intelligence just to understand the scope of the different adversaries that I'm facing.
Yeah.
By the way,
we've seen Russian attack groups attacking companies for a third-party attack. Okay, like they attacked company X in order to gain access to company Z.
It's what you call hub companies,
It's
right?
what we call hub companies, yes.
Like it's the supply chain ones.
It's a supply chain, yeah, because the hub company itself is not interesting, but the one thing that is interesting is that they have access or network access to a very interesting target that is harder to attack directly.
And this is some kind of monitoring that you are doing?
Yes, we analyze all the time the attack groups, and when we analyze specific companies, so we take the company, the corporate itself or the company itself, and we monitor the possible threats that are around it in different internet environments. That's the main source, including dark web, including social media, mobile apps, etc., to try to see as early as we can that there are discussions regarding the company, that there is leakage of information, leakage of credentials. We've seen that. We see that all the time. And the second issue that we deal with is specific technologies of a company. Let's say after the CISO defined his crown jewels, right? We just talked about it at the beginning. Then we take those crown jewels and we monitor them in the same environments, more or less, to see, again, discussions regarding those technologies, possible vulnerabilities, possible attacks, to try, again, to be as early as possible, to alert as early as possible to the CISO.
But they don't necessarily go wide when they attack a company. I mean, we just had these examples of executives being targeted, being spearphished, or even approached. They have been approached, or even their family members been approached by these attackers, threatening them. We even had one case of sextortion. that we dealt with not that long ago, as a kind of a backdoor to access the very sensitive data of the company. I mean, if their family member is being pressured to give the password of their father or mother.
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
To their laptop, then I mean.
So this is something that we deal with as well. Referring executives, we need to separate it into two. One is the executives and their families, okay, and protecting them from cyber attacks, from physical attacks, okay. But the focus is the people, okay, the executive and his or her family, okay. And the other thing is what you were talking about, the executive as a attack surface to the company, because we know that most of the time is easier to attack a human being than a network. And executives
with people is the weakest.
People are always the
weakest link in the
chain. Weakest link. Yeah. But we need to remember that it's not only the highest executives. Okay, it's not necessarily the CEO only. It can be salespeople that are have a lot of interactions with outside environments. And once you target them and they connect to the network of the company, you can make that jump. And yes, that's something that we deal with a lot.
Wow. Okay, so just to recap things.
Yeah.
We said that knowing who is coming after you is crucial. Doesn't matter if I'm a CISO of a small-sized company or a medium, of course, an enterprise.
Yeah, you need to map your threats.
Then different kind of adversaries are coming and targeting different industries with different ways.
Right.
And I guess that we should stay tuned for any potential future activities coming from Russian state actors.
That's something that we need to keep in mind and keep analyzing all the time and go from the bigger picture to the tactical cyber level.
Okay. I'll be waiting for your blogs.
Thanks.
Thanks, Lionel.
Yeah,
it was a pleasure. Fun. And thank you guys for watching this episode of Cyber Talks. See you next time.
See you.